Chapter 14. There's no creation without conviction. Principle. When creating a new reality, there is no word more important than conviction. This word is so powerful that it unconsciously creates the desired reality of people who have never even studied reality creation. There are extremely successful people that will never use a single manifestation technique in their life, let alone read a book on reality creation, but somehow seem to manifest whatever it is they want. And it all comes down to that one word. Conviction is extreme, unwavering belief in the face of anything. Truthfully, it transcends belief into knowing. Think about it like a big, sturdy tree that stands tall even when the wind blows hard. It's when you believe in something so strongly that you just know it. And just like the tree, you stay firm and don't fall over, even if pushed in a different direction. Conviction is ultimately the fuel that powers your journey to the destination of your desired reality or an unwanted reality. Unfortunately, the importance of conviction has flown under the radar of the masses while being hidden in the plain sight of religious scriptures. And Jesus said unto them, Because of your unbelief, for verily I say unto you, if ye have faith as a grain of mustard seed, ye shall say unto this mountain, Remove hence to yonder place, and it shall remove, and nothing shall be impossible unto you. Matthew 17:20. It is indeed true that faith can and does move mountains, just not the version of faith by which most of the world are taught to live. In the modern world, when people speak of faith, they are truly referring to trust, and trust will never be enough to alter reality because it indirectly implies the potential for being wrong, which is the breeding ground for doubt. You trust that people won't betray you, but you only trust because you don't know. Yet knowing is true faith. That is the essence of conviction. Faith comes from the Latin word fides, which referred to a level of confidence that is basically conviction. It's not about believing. Belief is not strong enough to command the forces of nature, because like trust, the only reason we believe is because we don't know. Belief alone will never be enough to alter reality. You know your name. You know that when a light switch is flicked, it'll turn on. You know that when you turn the kettle on, it'll start to boil. You know these things to such a degree that any attempts to convince yourself otherwise would be dismissed. You don't believe, you know. True faith is knowing and realizing. This awakens the esoteric nature of a multitude of scriptures. Conviction is the basis of all creation. It empowers the frequency that you put out to the universe, which can either lead to your construction or destruction. More often than not, we are taught to have conviction in struggle, misery, misfortune, and scarcity. Ironically, this strengthens those frequencies, leading to the likelihood of their materialization. We strengthen the frequencies of negativity to such a degree that their existence merges itself into what we simply deem as reality, which locks those frequencies into place. And that's the thing about faith. It doesn't just move mountains. When negatively misdirected, it also creates them as obstacles. The mountains that we often seek to move are the ones that we have made. If you could simply cultivate conviction in your desired reality already existing or being inevitable, then your desired reality would simply materialize. It is that simple. With a powerful degree of conviction, techniques wouldn't even be necessary. How many depend on a manifestation technique? There are millions and millions of videos of people claiming to have the secret technique, when the only secret technique is you, specifically, your conviction. Without conviction, no technique works. Conviction is what activates the technique to shift you internally, which sets in motion the eventual reflection of that into reality. What you're able to materialize will always be proportional to the degree of conviction you have surrounding what it is you wish to materialize. The more conviction, the more likely what you want will manifest. Don't fall into the trap of glorifying conviction as something mystical or unattainable. There's no need to be in awe of it or wonder how to cultivate it. You've already experienced conviction at some point in your life. There have been moments in your life when you just knew something would happen, whether minor or major, an internal knowing so profound that nothing could convince you otherwise. Some everyday examples of our convictions: I knew I was going to see this person. I knew this would happen. I knew that they were going to do that. I knew that they were going to say that. I knew that I was going to get this. I knew I was going to get that role. I knew that person was going to be mine. I knew that person was going to leave me. I knew that person was going to cheat on me. I knew that I wasn't going to get the job. I knew they wouldn't like me. I knew I was going to win. I knew I was going to lose. That unshakable feeling which has come to you before may have felt random, like you didn't know where it came from. But here's the thing: if you did, then you'd be able to flick on conviction like a light switch. Anyone with complete conviction stands above their reality. Conviction is like some magical insight that randomly drops from the sky. We have no idea where, when, or why it came. But when it's there, we know it, we feel it, and nothing or no one can convince us otherwise. The deeper truth is that all conviction you've ever felt or experienced was created and then channeled by and through you. Think about conviction like a reserve that you have within you that you are unaware of. Every once in a while, the reserve becomes too full, and it needs to release some of its energy to create space. When that energy is released and conviction touches your system, you tap into a frequency so strong that you're able to materialize any idea held in the mind by injecting it with conviction. That idea can be for or against you, as stated in the examples earlier. There are a multitude of ideas that exist in your mind, all waiting and seeking to be materialized. When conviction touches the system, those ideas fight for this superpower, which make them more likely to materialize. If the conviction you experience is the result of the reserve being too full, it's natural to wonder how to withdraw from that reserve at will. Imagine being able to draw from your conviction reserves at any given moment. That's essentially the ability to create your desired reality at any given moment. So how can we do it? It's simple. First, you need to understand that the energy of conviction is the second stage of a two-part process. Once you know the energy of the first stage, you'll unlock conviction. Before conviction is conviction, it is first self-trust. Self-trust is the first stage of conviction. Self-trust can be defined as the ability for you to do what you know you need to do and to avoid doing what you know you shouldn't be doing. The mind always keeps track, but more than that, it keeps score of your ability to follow up your own word and your own direction. There are things that you know you should or need to be doing, but for whatever reason, the old frequency, you're not doing them. This doesn't have to be about creating your desired reality. It's just not about meditating, reading, affirming, or visualizing. It can be as simple as finally going through your emails or letters, updating your CV, going to the gym, cleaning out a room, or standing up for yourself. The reason it doesn't necessarily have to be related to reality creation is because everything is related to reality creation. Nothing is compartmentalized in the mind. It's a similar concept to the common adage that how you do one thing is how you do everything. The mind keeps score and records everything. The more you stick to your word and the more you follow your own direction, the more self-trust you're going to have, which means, ultimately, the more conviction you're going to have. As I've said, there are things that you know you shouldn't be doing or don't want to be doing, but for whatever reason, the old frequency, you're doing them. Once again, it can be simple things like not waking up on time, wanting to be punctual but still being late, being quick to judge others, smoking when you've been trying to quit, procrastinating on that thing, or drinking when you've been wanting to stop. There are indeed spiritual consequences to smoking and drinking, but they do not affect your ability to create your reality. However, if you desire to stop these activities, yet you continue to do them, you indirectly deplete your self-trust, which depletes your conviction, which depletes your ability to materialize. It is not the acts that are the issue, but your perception of them. The erosion of self-trust happens when you repeatedly engage in actions you want to stop, but continue doing anyway. Simultaneously, the more you fail to keep your word, and the more you fail to follow your direction, the less self-trust you're going to have, which means, ultimately, the less conviction you're going to have. Self-trust is the first reserve that is filled by doing the things you know you should be doing, and it is depleted by doing the things that you know shouldn't be doing. This reserve is then exchanged into the energy of conviction, but it all begins with self-trust. The more evidence that your mind gathers to prove that you are who you say you are, that you can command and direct yourself, then the more likely reality will believe you when you tell it who you are, and the greater your ability to command reality. Practical. Reality creation can sometimes feel like we're on trial, like we're constantly having to defend our desired reality, our thoughts, our feelings, and our vision. But like a trial, the more evidence on your side, the better your case. The trial is between you and your old frequency. Every time that you follow through on your word and the things you know you should or need to be doing, the more evidence for the side of your desired reality. The more you fail to do what you know you should or need to be doing, or even worse, doing things that you know you shouldn't be doing, the more evidence for the side of your old frequency. Who's currently winning the trial? Only you know. The beauty of self-trust is that it highlights something so obvious yet so profound. The only person in the universe that you've ever had to prove anything to is you. What are those things that you want or need to get done? What are those things that you want or need to stop doing? Write them down, no matter how big or small. Remember, there is no big or small to the infinite. It really doesn't matter. Once defined clearly, now it's a game of discipline. Unfortunately, this crucial aspect of reality creation is so often overlooked, but there is no getting around it. How could you ever expect to discipline reality if you can't even discipline yourself? Ironically and metaphysically, you and reality are one, so until you start within, you will not change the without. The first stage is complete, and you've got self-trust locked down. Now it's just a matter of realizing that conviction is a muscle that you need to start consciously exercising. After you've done those things you need to be doing and you start feeling more confident in yourself, that is when it's time to exercise the conviction muscle. Just as with any muscle, the more you use it, the more conditioned it gets. Exercising the conviction muscle is easy. It's just a matter of you deciding that you know something is going to happen instead of waiting for that feeling to randomly come. Sounds weird, but that is all there is to it. Simply you stating that you know something is going to happen. It's only weird because, for the most part, conviction has been unconscious to you. But now we are making it conscious, almost like taking breathing off autopilot and making it conscious. Decide with great precision and unshakable confidence that you know whatever it is you want to manifest is already yours, and nothing can convince you otherwise. At first it might feel a bit rough or strange, but that unfamiliar feeling is simply you harnessing the power that, without realizing, you've been drip-feeding to yourself your whole life. To exercise true conviction, you must exercise expectation, because expectation is creation. Think about the times in your life when you've said, "I knew that was going to happen." What was that? Did you become a prophet? Did you become a seer? Every time you knew, and it happened, you weren't a prophet. You were a creator. The truth lies in frequency, and the truth is, you created it with a power that's been hidden in plain sight your whole life. You expected it, Expectancy creates reality. Expectation is creation. When you expect something, that means you are anticipating it. Think about a boxer. When he's in the ring, he must anticipate his opponent's punches. Anticipation is a form of preparation, and to expect is to prepare for the frequency that you are expecting. When you prepare for something, that means you know it's going to happen, and that's the key that will unlock your desired reality: knowing. Most people think that manifestation is believing, but as previously mentioned, that's why they will never manifest. Believing isn't enough. When you believe something, that means it's not a fact. Do you believe that a switch will turn on the light, or do you know it will? That's exactly what expectancy taps into: knowing, confidence, and conviction. Those are the infinity stones of manifestation. Most live their lives using expectation to create the worst realities for themselves, never realizing that through their expectation, they are indirectly preparing, opening their arms to their old frequency. How many times do you expect the worst in life? Isn't it weird that you expect the worst more than you expect the best? Why? It's almost easier and normal to expect the worst. But why? It all comes down to programming, conditioning, and training. The world has trained you to expect the worst, so you create the worst. Most people expect the worst for two reasons. 1. They've been sold the idea of it. 2. They've experienced it. Let's look at the first reason. If you want to create your desired reality, then you can't live in the world. If you live in the world, you will never manifest what you want. You must live in your world. You need to quite literally create your own bubble and live in it. Be consumed by it. Anything that does not align with your desired reality must be filtered out. People are criticized for being tone deaf, but that is nothing more than an isolated mind. I'm not suggesting you act as if the issues of the world do not exist, just to recognize your own issues and prioritize them ahead of those of the world. The world sells limitation, scarcity, misery, misfortune, and suffering, which when bought sets one up to expect them. It is through that expectancy reality is structured. Take the concept of recession, for example. The world will sell you the idea that there will be financial difficulty, unemployment, and layoffs, and it will repeat them until you expect it. Through training you to expect it, they energetically prepare you to create it. You get what you expect. Now let's look at the second reason. Whenever we go through the worst, to protect our heart, we normalize it to avoid the pain of being disappointed or frustrated again. We normalize the worst without realizing it as a defense mechanism. When you normalize the worst, you expect the worst, so you create the worst. The universe will not seek to alter your perspective. It will simply reflect what you expect, regardless of whether you deserve it or not, unfortunately. To the universe, what you expect is what you are asking for. It's hard to conceptualize that you may expect the worst, but it's likely you do. To gauge whether you expect the worst, determine what you find normal. Do you find it normal to suffer financially? Then you are expecting it. Do you find it normal for people to let you down? Then you are expecting it. Do you find it normal to be overlooked at work? Then you are expecting it. Do you find it normal to unemployed? Then you are expecting it. Do you find it normal for your business to stagnate? Then you are expecting it. Whatever you find normal is what you are unconsciously, indirectly expecting, and anything that you find normal will find you. Your desired reality must become normal to you before it can become normal to the world. To normalize your desired reality simply requires neutralization. The moment you become neutral to your desired reality, you collapse the space between you and it. Neutralization is simply a matter of relinquishing the external reliance of your desired reality by giving it to yourself internally to such a degree you are good with or without it. Think about expectation like ordering at a restaurant. If you want steak, but you ask for fish, what are they going to bring out? The direction you look in is eventually where you will find yourself. A powerful example of faith-based expectancy is found in the biblical story of Elisha and the three kings. During this time, King Jehoram of Israel, King Jehoshaphat of Judah, and the king of Edom found themselves in a desperate situation. They were preparing for battle against the Moabites, but after marching for 7 days, they ran out of water, leaving their armies and animals on the brink of collapse. In their distress, they sought out the prophet Elisha for guidance. After consulting the Lord, Elisha gave them a surprising instruction. "Thus says the Lord, make this valley full of ditches. For thus says the Lord, you shall not see wind, nor shall you see rain, yet that valley shall be filled with water, so that you, your cattle, and your animals may drink." 2 Kings 3:16-17. Think about this. There was no visible sign of water, yet Elisha told them to prepare for it anyway. Their act of digging ditches was an expression of faith, taking action before seeing evidence. And just as God had promised, the next morning, water flowed into the valley from Edom, filling the ditches and providing for their needs. Even more astonishing, the Moabite army, seeing the water in the sunlight, mistook it for blood and assumed their enemies had turned on each other. This led to their defeat, securing victory for Israel. Prepare even when it is not seen. This story holds a profound lesson. Expectation precedes manifestation. The kings had to act in faith, digging ditches before any sign of water appeared. Likewise, in life, we must often prepare for our blessings before we see physical proof. This is a demonstration of true faith, trusting in the unseen and aligning ourselves with divine provision. Your current reality may feel like a desert, dry, barren, and hopeless. But just as Elisha instructed the kings to prepare, you too must act in faith, expecting the best even when appearances suggest otherwise. Dig your ditches. Act as if your breakthrough is already on the way. Release past disappointments. Cross the bridge from fear to faith. Climb the mountain, seek solitude, and elevate your mind above worldly concerns. Believe it is already done, not by forcing reality to change, but by trusting in the divine timing of provision. Just as Elisha spoke God's promise, and the kings acted accordingly, we are called to trust in the unseen, act in alignment, and prepare to receive what is already on its way. Remember, you get what you expect. Your life may currently seem like a desert, but you must elevate yourself if you want to be above the world. You must expect the best, because in doing so, you prepare for your desired reality to rain down on you. You just need to cross the bridge of past resentment, frustration, and disappointment. Every time you try to expect the best, it is past experiences that hold you back and cause fear within you. Fear of disappointment again. You need to be willing to put your heart out there again, while detaching from the necessity of seeing the external world change. But this time with full conviction that your desired reality will materialize no matter what physical appearances say. There will be instances your desire does not unfold as intended. If you have truly manifested, the physical will be irrelevant. True manifestation is about internally shifting to such a degree you are no longer emotionally dependent on seeing reality change. To be able to stand in an unwanted reality, in a wanted frequency, is the beginning of freedom from the slavery of reality.